upgrading my
Nah, you're basic. I basically can't hear you, dude. I hear that you're talking, but I can't really hear what you're saying.
Okay, let me set this
Eh,
up.
it's better.
Let me set this shit up. Where's my microphone? No, this microphone needs to. And so I have people staying in me, so I have to completely relocate my whole setup.
I don't know how you get in and out of your office. There's no door there, and it's clear, completely
I had to
surrounded
set
by
it up
desks.
in 20 minutes, and I just about made the cutoff.
You did what?
Let's do this. Okay. Let's just see where our guests are for today.
We got guests.
What are you looking at? Don't have to tell me if it's private, but if it's a chart or something.
What are you talking about?
What are you looking at right now?
You?
Uh,
What do you mean? What am I looking at?
I don't know. Sometimes we get sidetracked. We go on little side quests and to pull in some details.
I'm writing an email to an investor. He has needed help with his redeeming his Badger ordinal.
I think they're on a. I think they're on the Google Meet.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that would make sense. You want me to bring him in?
Yeah.
I'll go over there.
Start posting this around town.
Yeah,
Get this
send it.
party
Yeah,
started.
I think I can
We have.
restream it. I was able to restream it last time. They are on the Google Meet. Hi guys, Boker Tov. You're in the wrong place. There's a StreamYard link in the calendar. And yeah, see you there. Bye. All right, they coming.
So we're streaming on YouTube for the first time this week.
Yay!
We are live on YouTube.
Right now?
Uh, yeah, right now. I
Oh,
just
okay.
heard you say yeah in like a it's like a little deja vu. But we're on. I'm
That
gonna
goes.
send people the YouTube link because I think it's better. I've got a problem right now. I've got so many like media things that I'm trying to build, and they're just different like names for everyone. Like my YouTube channel, I call it Satoshi Shed, which is a nice name, but it doesn't like tie into like okay the Yalla Bitcoin breakfast show, and people will just get lost. Like what are all these names? So I'm trying to like figure out how to kind of how to sterilize everything. Bring everything under one umbrella. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no problem. That seems very interesting, and I wish you luck with that.
Yeah, I need some like some divine inspiration over here. Let me see.
Divine inspiration. Wow.
Yeah, from
you're
from
hoping
from the
for
Lord Satoshi.
Uh-oh.
Satoshi's is
Oh, now you're blaspheming, dude. Now you're
yeah.
blaspheming. I don't like that.
No, it's not blasphemy. I think divine. It can be like we can use the word divine for different levels of people that are touched by grace, by spirituality. Like you can talk about a divine human being. I think one
Uh,
of those people is Satoshi Nakamoto. Not divine with a capital D. Like that's only one thing. So
about
I'm not
that.
gonna.
That's
But
the English
I,
meaning. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Supremely
yeah. Dan, good morning to you. How are you?
heavenly or godlike. Okay. 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 I think that's okay then. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I've been getting on your case here.
Okay, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Hi
This is
everyone.
how we do. Yeah, then let's do a quick mark check. Tell us
This
your favorite coin right now. It's just
wait,
with
wait, wait. Before you say, I have to say this. We have more panelists than viewers at the moment. This is awesome.
we have
That's
five
great.
viewers
Let's
now.
keep it that way.
We have we have
But we're hoping the
uh,
bots will join pretty soon. They like the bots like to come in around this time. But if you are human and you are watching, even if you're watching the recording, please let us know. Leave a comment so that we can understand that we're not wasting our time here.
Yeah, we're definitely not wasting our time because we can cut the clips for later. That's always a good show. And we're here to talk Bitcoin. We had a kind of, I think a lot of people are scared. They're not watching Bitcoin stuff. They're going to cry. They've left the market. We get these cycles around and around it goes. And in the dips, in the troughs, the people don't stay around. Alon shared a great meme earlier. Hard times, good times, good men make good times make weak men, and weak men make hard times, and then the cycle continues. So it's the same here. Like a bear market make Bitcoin maxis, who make bull markets, who make altcoin maxis, who fuck it all up. So that's where we are at now at the stage. But welcome to our guest, Alon and Yarden. We'll get into some intros. You guys are both sponsoring the Yalla Bitcoin summer party, which we'll get to in a bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, do a little show and tell, a little dog and pony show, and then we'll kick it off with the questions.
All right. Yeah, I'll start. Alon, you're on mute, so I'll start. All right. I'm Yarden. I'm a crypto lawyer based in Israel. I'm with the DLT Law practice with my two good partners that I think one of them was on this show before. This is my first time. Super excited and working with the Yalla Bitcoin guys, working on this cool party we're having, and here to talk about market predictions, I guess. Really not my cup of tea, but I saw, that's 90% of the content. So
what is your cup
whatever's
of tea?
left.
What is your cup of tea? We can make it for you live.
I'm a regulatory. I'm a regulatory attorney. I do crypto regulation globally, US, Europe, anywhere else that and any of that subject that you want to talk about. Happy to discuss.
People love to hear about MiCA regulations, right?
Yeah, but I think we only have 1 hour, so.
Jeez Louise.
No, I think this is a great platform for regulation talk because we can cut it, we can share it. We have 4 panelists and whatever. One thing that we used to do, we used to have these parties, like Alon will tell you, we had like a lot of parties early, and we kept it fun, we kept it light. And then I started bringing some panelists, and like I was into kind of regulation because I was working in security tokens at the time, and that's all regulation. Like it's like the tech is 3%, like it's an ERC20 with some changes.
Yep.
But it's all like the regulatory hacking. So I thought it'd be interesting for people to hear this stuff. But people just want to know, like, am I going to jail? No, good, cool. Let's go. And then
if only it was that simple.
Okay, so we'll bring in some more. We'll definitely ask you some questions. I want to, like, you're obviously following the US stage as well, because
hey, before you get into that, is there a link we can share or something on YouTube or something?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna send it to you right now, and I'm also gonna pull up all our sponsors.
Because usually I have a restream button on StreamYard. I don't know. It's not there today.
I wonder why not. Here's the YouTube link for you to post.
Thank you so much.
Did it send?
And I do want to remind anybody, who is watching, please just go ahead and leave a comment so that we can understand that you're a real human being. If you have a question or something to add to the conversation, it's Dudu's job actually to put that up on the screen. He generally fails at that job, so I tend to remind him. But please do leave your comments so that we can see them there.
Let's go. Okay, let's bring in Alon now, and we'll have some comments. If anyone's listening wants to ask a regulatory question to Yarden, now is the time. That's an excellent time. So, Alon, you're up, man.
Hey, cool. First time on the show, so very happy to be here. I'm Alon, and I'm the founder of Newhedge, which is a Bitcoin intelligence and analytics platform that does market data, derivatives data, on-chain analysis. And Dudu and I, we started Yalla Bitcoin back in 2020. So we've been hosting events as frequently as we can and trying to get really kind of the Israel Bitcoin community together. And like Dudu said, I was the one sleeping at all these regulatory meetups that we used to have. I am more for the revolution that Bitcoin is bringing about, less about security tokens and RWAs and NFTs and all this kind of new stuff happening in the space. So yeah, so I think we'll kick off. I think with a lot of.
I think we'll kick off with that. I want to get you guys, because Yarden and Alon, you kind of come from two different sides of the coin, and like I'd want to kick off with charts and this and that, and tell me more about what you do. But Donald Trump is coming to Bitcoin 2024, right? And some people are freaking out. Obviously, this signals a regulatory shift, right? The winds of change wafting through Washington and pumping our bags. On the one hand, on the other hand, people are saying, and I've heard some Bitcoin maxis say, like, the whole point of Bitcoin is to escape the government and escape these politicians and to create some sort of a non-sovereign alternative to that in monies. And so why are you getting excited about the politicians? They're not the enemy, but they're the sort of the counterweight, the adversary. So what's your take on that, Alon?
So I think that there's an ideology and then there's the reality of things. So the way that the current system is built, we can't create this libertarian utopia society where everyone is paying in Bitcoin just yet. I think that these are kind of like we're seeing the inklings of us moving in that direction. If you were to go on Bitcoin Talk and look at like threads from 2014, it was almost like a joke that one day some nation state would be holding Bitcoin on their government's balance sheet. And now we have El Salvador, we have Argentina with Malay looking to go in that direction as well. So I think it all starts, it's like that slowly but suddenly movement. It's all moving in that direction. But I think like to not support, I think the crypto block is becoming a huge voting block in the United States. And to be anti-crypto now is to be a very unpopular candidate. So to support a candidate, you don't have to support everything about Trump. But if you support having sovereign money and not being deemed as a criminal for transacting in money that you see fit, then it seems like there's this like dichotomy of pro crypto and anti crypto. And I think the pro crypto lobby, I think, is like probably one of the biggest now in terms of money raised, in terms of like super PACs.
Are you sorry? You sound like an American. Are you voting?
I will be voting, yes. I've never voted in the U.S. election before, although I've been able to for the past maybe 3. I think this one, just because like Bitcoin is something very near and dear to me. So to have a candidate that's in the Elizabeth Warren camp and to have someone the complete opposite, it's a very easy decision for me.
Right on. I'm actually an ambassador for Republicans overseas. So if you need some help with your voter registration, let me know.
I'll definitely be reaching out.
Dude, you're on mute.
You guys are my proxies. I'm not voting, but I live vicariously through Alon and Mati and all the other hodlers. I think Bitcoin is usually apolitical, and it was for a while. Like everyone hated it equally, both Republicans and Democrats. And then you started to see Senator Loomis, and then you started to see in Wyoming some, the budding of crypto-friendly regulators, and then you have Warren Davidson, and then you have a few others, some guys on the Democrat side that are a bit more pro. So especially the younger generation, the ones that aren't cadavers walking around amongst us, but young, fresh politicians, they start to see it a little bit more in a good light. So I think that's it's a good thing to see. And Bitcoin is supposed to, it's supposed to sort of have more impact. That's a more philosophical question. What's better, to have purity or impact? Because you can keep your purity and be like very, Bitcoin maxi, Bitcoin purist, in hardcore cypherpunk. But then you will always remain a niche. If you want to impact, you have to not dilute necessarily, but know how to, frame and crop your agenda that in a way that it can appeal to the mass people. And that's what we're seeing, I think, with Donald Trump, where, it's starting to be crypto, Bitcoin is starting to be equated with freedoms of transaction, freedom to speak, freedom of information. And that appeals to everybody, almost a lot of people. So hopefully that can pump our bags. Yarden, what about you? How do you see the coming Trump wave impacting the regulation side of
so I don't want to rain on anyone's parade in this context, but looking at the recently published platform as an example, and people got hyped about that, and change is coming. I definitely agree with Alon on you can be a purist, or you can we all live in reality. So saying it's the enemy, so we don't care about what they do, is nice, but it wouldn't help. We want to make a change in regulation, and laws are things that make a change, and they could make a change for the better or for the worse. Does this platform or the announcement by the GOP about them looking more crypto friendly in this sense, is this major news or something that will actually bring about a real world change? I honestly doubt it. I lost you guys. I don't know if I'm talking to myself here.
We can hear you.
Here?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Great. So, looking at it, it's a nice.
I just changed the view to you only. As you can see on the corner, you got the DLT Law.
Oh,
logo.
that's brilliant.
So you're
Thanks.
going to smash a nice clip out of that of you saying our bags are going to pump.
So you didn't see any bags pumping because of this announcement, and I don't foresee that you are going to see any such changes based on these promises. These are campaign promises, and that's fine. In terms of showing what their general approach is, that might be the case, and it's mostly responsive in the way that it's written. It's mostly responsive to saying Democrats are bad, they're hindering our freedoms, and crippling crypto. So that's good. The one thing you don't want to buy the rumors now for something that's going to happen in 2 years from now, but one thing to wait and expect is the replacement of the SEC chair and Gary Gensler to a Trump administration appointed chair, which might bring a change. The main thing that that they can bring legislation in Congress, and they can make some changes, but still the way the American federal securities laws are the way they are now, the major changes are going to come from the SEC, the regulator, and the courts. There might be changes in, even if they go and follow the European MiCA regulation, meaning the most comprehensive crypto regulation. We're still going to have that 1930s Howey test, and the pain that it brings to U.S. investors and to projects that want to work in the U.S. market. So that's not something that they're going to dismiss or throw out the window and come up with new securities regulation.
Dude, I want you to clip this, by the way, and play it back to us in a year from now, because this guy is so wrong. I'm not even joking. And look, in one
happy to fight over this.
In 1 year from now, I believe that the Howey test will no longer be relevant. Let's just put it that way. We have to understand that Donald Trump is a president that is running on a platform of change and deregulation. As soon as he has been explained what's happening in crypto, it goes against every fiber of his being. And obviously, I'm not I'm probably a little bit more like our friend over here who I don't know. I'm not into I believe that Trump is a saint or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he's a megalomaniac. I'm pretty sure he's very self-interested, that he cares about his legacy more than he cares about actually good for the people and stuff like that. But from what he's done before, we can see that very likely we'll see some sort of a change in regulatory regime. The chairman of the SEC being changed could basically mean everything. And I think that, yes, you're correct as far as the legal concerns. There still has to be like these tits and tats that have to play out. But there's a lot that can be done from the congressional side and from the president that can basically come with sweeping reforms. I'm not just talking about like, okay, MiCA style. MiCA style makes sense for Europe, but the United States wants to be a leader in fintech. They always have been a leader in emerging technologies over the last 100 years, and to see them like way behind on this, it's a shame and it's a scam. And the only real person, the only real office that's been standing in the way of that is the SEC. So even just appointing a new chairman of the SEC, let's say if Trump comes in and appoints Ryan Selkis as the chairman of the SEC, you think that we're still going to be using the Howey test in a year from now? I don't think so.
I do. Look, I do. I think what needs to be done on the SEC side, and it's right now like there are much bigger news than the Trump's political promises, like things that are happening in court and things that the court decisions that will eventually trickle down and change the way the SEC operates. But throwing the Howey test out the window, like changing the law entirely, like creating a new Securities Exchange Act instead of 1934, you do a 2025 or 6. I really don't think that's a realistic dream, even with Trump's major reforms and whatnot. But as long as that exists, that's still going to be the backbone of what the SEC is using, because that's its only way to claim authority over this field, right? So MiCA, like when I say MiCA like regulation, I mean a comprehensive regulation that comes and say that mostly addresses the service providers, the exchanges, et cetera. Right now, there's the securities laws, but there's also the state money transmission laws and federal laws, and there's nothing dedicated to crypto. They're operating against under very old, anachronistic, and largely irrelevant laws for what they're doing. So that could bring a major change, but that I don't see that in no country that I know of, changed dramatically the way it said, like, we have our securities laws, but it doesn't apply to crypto because that's crypto and that's new. And also, like, MiCA did the same. MiCA applies to everything that is not a security token under European existing regulation. Right. So even if a new super comprehensive regime comes in, and that would be amazing, because then exchanges would have, a clear pathway, and service providers and on-ramps and bridges and whatnot would have a clear regulatory framework to work under. And let's say maybe, one license instead of 50. But and that would be great for the industry as a whole. But in terms of, the main pain point, which is still securities laws, the SEC and the Howey test, I am happy to fight over that, but as long as that exists, the SEC will continue using that, and I don't see even the craziest of presidents and the most extreme, Congress wanting to make the biggest change they can, throwing that out the window.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see in a year's time who's right. I think money is boring. We should put something on it, like a bet, or like someone has to shave their heads, something, just to make it interesting. But
Mate already won.
But you know what? If you say SEC more than 20 times somewhere in the world, Gary Gensler hits an orphan in the leg. So let's take it to a different direction and maybe bring it to the charts, to the predictions. What we do on a weekly basis here, looking at the charts. And Alon, we're going to start with you because you cook them in your own kitchen. We just eat what other people
definitely
food out. So let's see what you've got.
Okay, so I have something something pretty cool for us. So what I'm going to show is just a collection of 6 of the most interesting charts that I see in Bitcoin right now. And then at the end, we're going to make, all of us 4, a decision of if the cycle top is in. Okay, and we can look at previous cycles to kind of get an understanding of what we're looking at. So the first chart that I want to bring up here, let me share my screen. All right, do we all see it?
I don't see shit.
Bringing it up. There we go.
All right.
Okay, we see it?
Newhedge.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newhedge. So we're looking at a chart called Bitcoin coin days destroyed, which is a really, really interesting metric. And what I want to kind of show everyone is, so basically the metric is showing the number of Bitcoins in a transaction multiplied by the last time that they've been moved in terms of days. So usually what this shows is when long-term holders start moving their coins, and we can kind of, you know, make a understanding of when long-term holders are moving their coins, it's usually to sell, right? We can assume that, and what we can actually see is when the CDD metric is its highest, we usually see a cycle top. And I say usually because there's outliers here, of course, but we can use this to kind of like identify if a cycle top is in. So as we see, as the price has kind of started going back up into that high above 60 range, we see a massive CDD score. Now, what I also want to show everyone is, if you look in the last year, do you see this massive outlier, this huge spike that happened May 28th? Does anyone know what happened around May 27th, May 28th of this year?
Data anomaly?
No, definitely not a data anomaly. Any other guesses?
Something to do with the ETF?
Nope. This is when Mt. Gox transferred 140,000 Bitcoin, $9 billion. And as you can imagine, the CDD score is very high because the last time that those coins were moved were, you know, in the decades, right? It was like it's been years since those coins have been moved, and that was a huge transaction. So we see this kind of outlier. So usually, like when you come and look at this chart, you kind of see this massive spike and be like, okay, looks like a cycle top is in, but this is actually an outlier in the sense that this was Mt. Gox assuming sell pressure, right, for them to kind of make depositors whole. So with
not
this
sell
one,
pressure. I mean, it's distribution, right? I mean, they're distributing the coins to the creditors, and basically those creditors decide what they want to do with those coins. If they want to hodl or sell, I'm going to assume a lot of them are going to sell because they've been waiting for this for more than a decade already. But again, like so what does this chart tell you as far as the top or the not top, as insofar as you have this massive outlier over here on the on your chart, which we know, first of all, whenever we look at charts, the regulators make us say the disclaimer: past performance does not indicate future results. And
always a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's necessary because you can't tell the future based on what happened in the past. Sometimes history repeats itself, but it doesn't. Or what was the quote? I think it's Mark Twain. It doesn't. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
Excellent quote.
Yeah. So and then correlation does not equal causation, right? So just because we had several times where it spiked and then the top came in later, it doesn't necessarily mean that it spiked now and the top is in. So what does this tell us then, as far as the point you're trying to make?
Yeah, so again, I completely agree on the point of correlation and causation, right? This just gives us a really good picture of long-term holders and when they move their coins, which can sometimes be correlated when price gets very, very high, right? Like the longer a coin holds and it's like net unrealized profit gets higher and higher and higher, the more chances that it's going to move and be sold at a cycle top. So we can kind of see that, but from what I gather from this past year, it looks like just based on this metric, and there's no one ring to rule them all metric in Bitcoin to kind of understand if we're in a cycle top or if we have more room to go. But it seems like this Mt. Gox was an outlier, and it seems like a cycle top is not in based on just this chart.
I mean, the Mt. Gox FUD was part of the reason people attribute that drop down to 55. So maybe it's an outlier that has some impact. But I
thought it was the Germans.
The Germans, what is the Germans? But above and beyond the Germans, like on top of the Germans. But in actual fact, like instead of thinking correlation, causation, like very 1-0, I like to think of it, probabilistically. And when you see long-term holders, like let's leave a second at it's Mt. Gox for a second, at the big anomaly. But the fact is, some long-term holders selling, And I remember there was a lot of other metrics, on-chain metrics, like long-term holder profit, like realized profit, and all that kind of stuff that did
We'll get
show
into that.
some heavy take profit at around 70K, which explains why, if you're a Bitcoiner and you've been holding for a year, 2 years, whatever, 3 years, 10 years, like you're not fussing, because 70 was like, it makes sense to take a bit of profit at previous all-time high, and then start accumulation and hold your bag till the next cycle. It's the people that got into like Pepe coin in the last 6 months that are starting to freak out and sully out those fear and greed charts. So that's an excellent metric. What else you got for us?
Before that, I want to say again, due to your falling down on your job, we had a question from the audience on Twitter. What kind of dips? Oh, but you
what
answered kind of dips would be on offer. Okay, we want to know what kind of dips the people want to know.
You answered with the hummus picture. I thought that was enough.
I believe that's a ranch dressing, by the way. And then Bitcoin Live DB. This is actually Nick. He's part of the quantum economics team. Says love this show, so you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, this guy is a legend. He needs to get. What's his name? We needs to come on the show because he's
Nick. Come on the show, man. We'd love to have you.
We want to see you on the show. We want to hear you. You seem like a guy that can get on with Alon, like a libertarian. Eats some steak, hates the government, loves his guns. But that's all I can tell just by looking at your handle. So maybe you're not like that. Maybe you really like vegan food. I don't know, but we welcome you on the chart. But yeah, I mean, does anyone else have any questions? Like, look, Alon is the perfect person to ask these questions too, because he's building this from the sort of the metals. He's bringing that data raw from the chain and then fixing it up in a way like that makes sense for everyone. So if you have questions on chain analytics, now's the time. What is chart? What's behind door number 2?
Yeah, so let's go behind door number 2. So again, like there is no, like I said, one ring to rule them all chart to help us understand. But as we get through these 6, we can kind of get a clear picture if we're in a cycle top or not. So the next one is a pretty basic one, but this is the total transaction fees per day denominated in Bitcoin. So usually in periods of high transaction fees, it suggests like a spike in demand, meaning people want their transactions to be included in the block. They're ready to pay more for that. So usually what we see is around when these fees are spiking, you'll usually see the price kind of correlate along with that as well. So what we can see here is that happened exactly around 2021. And we see it happening now again in certain little peaks as we enter this kind of like new all-time high above 70K. And what we're seeing is that if we look at the past year,
these are from the ordinals. Anything in the last year and a half.
For sure. So those anomalies can be found in the ordinals. So this is also a perfect way to show that ordinals is also cooling off in terms of like new projects minting.
I sent the Bitcoin transaction yesterday for under $1, man. I was in shock. That hasn't happened since 2022.
Yeah, exactly. So we see this cooling off as well, and the price is kind of correlated alongside that as well, meaning that there's not too many people bidding for block space for their next transaction, meaning kind of like the intent of like sending coins. And usually when people are sending coins, we can make the assumption that it's either like a withdrawal or a deposit for an exchange, or a transaction amongst people showing kind of economic activity. So we see that kind of cooling off like here as well.
Exchange deposit withdrawal is like maybe 2% of my transactions, dude.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm a holder for life, so I very rarely touch exchanges.
That spark that you see in fees like this year, not the one by 2026 or whatever it was, that was one, I think, the first time where the fees, was more than the block subsidy as a reward for miners. Like we had that this year. So I think that's a sign of things to come. I mean, as I told, I think Alon or someone like, being ordinals and rooms holder through the last 6 months, like 2-3 months ago, I was measuring the rims for my custom Tesla, and now I'm picking between Sichuan and Thailandi for my.
Man, I want to cry. That runestone was worth $7,000 at one point. Okay, and then the Prometheus, it was like, I showed it to my son. He's 5 years old. I was like, keep it. I was like, keep it or sell. He's like, keep it. I'm like, it's worth $200 now. I'm like, I want to cry. Sorry.
I feel kind of responsible because I did kind of talk you into hodling Mighty Runestone.
Don't worry.
But you did
Don't
get the
worry about
airdrop.
it, man.
You got the dog airdrop. So that's
Those
the
frogs
most.
are gonna buy me a house one day. I'm quite sure of it. Okay, let's leave
Those
it at
frogs, yeah. And you got the dog airdrop as well for Runestone, I'm sure.
that. Yeah. Oh no, I sold that. I did. I have to say, I sold.
Okay, that's good.
I sold the top on dog. I said, I said to myself, look, this is my chance. Like they literally put me like $9,000 in my account for free. I said, it's not
Hell yeah.
going higher than this. It's not. There's no reason for it. It
Dog
doesn't make
to
any
$1 billion,
sense.
I think.
Even if they become one of the biggest meme coins in the history of the world, because Travis willed it to be, I still don't think it's going much higher than that. It's like, okay, this is my chance. I'm out. But I still have the pictures. The pictures are cool.
I mean, there's a dog has 2 more airdrops to come. So you sold the golden
I got
eggs,
the
but
runestone.
didn't
We'll
kill
get
the
the other.
golden
We'll get the
deal.
other airdrops. I doubt they're going to be as successful as dog, though. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Alon's about to call in psychologists for us discussing shitcoins when we're talking about the purity.
I zoned out.
The purity of the blockchain ticking away every 10 minutes, showing blocks. So let's see what's behind door number 3.
Okay, so door number 3, we have a very popular metric, NUPL, NUPL. So this is Bitcoin net unrealized profit and loss. And essentially what we're looking at here is UTXOs, their creation, the price of their creation, and seeing if it's higher or lower than the current price. And we can kind of overlay it. So for instance, like if we see here, this is a time when around more than 75% of all UTXOs that have been created are now in profit, meaning that like the higher that people's UTXOs are in profit, it usually shows kind of like a way for sell pressure, meaning that they're in heavy profits. So what we can kind of see here is we kind of see these like blow off tops, usually around here. If we make the BTC price, we can kind of this is more what we're accustomed to. So as we kind of run up and we see more than 75%, we usually hit this kind of euphoria and greed, and people really, really start wanting to take profits. And once they start taking profits, you know, the price dips, and then we have kind of like a negative NUPL, and then it starts moving up again. So what we see here is, again, we didn't hit this over 75% unrealized profits in UTXO counts. So we haven't hit this euphoria greed, but it looks like we are on our way down from this belief denial, meaning that it looks like people are very happy with the amount of unrealized profits that they have, and it looks like price is going down as people start selling off.
Amazing. So I think the bottom line is, I think we did hit a cycle top, but that was a month ago. I think now it sort of feels like more accumulation zone for the next wave up.
Right.
At least that's what it seems like for me, like a mini, local maxima, not a global maxima, so to speak.
Well, it's definitely
exactly
double
right.
top on the daily chart. I mean, not a perfect double top, right? Because that first hump was greater. I've been looking at the Fibonacci retracement and then the 200 DMA. So we showed the last time.
We'll get into the 200 DMA. That's one of the next charts that I wanted to show, and the next two.
Do it, dude. Do it. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. All right, let's do it. So here we have the all famous Bitcoin Mayor multiple, which is the current price divided by its 200-day moving average. And what's really interesting about this one, it's kind of a really good indicator if we're in a cycle top or not. So this was created by Trace Mayer a while ago, maybe in like back in 2016, 2017, something like that. So usually a Mayer multiple above 2 indicates a growing risk of a cycle top. So as you see here, this purple line is the 200-day moving average, the actual price. And then this blue line below, so we can actually just isolate this and the price. This blue line below actually shows the actual value, the Mayer multiple. So anything above 2, which you can see here on the y-axis, usually is a growing indication of a cycle top. And we can see that a little bit better if we bring this down over here. So you can actually see that the Mayer multiple actually is really good at identifying cycle tops. So what we saw here, though, which in our benefit is the anticlimactic for us that we haven't really reached the cycle top, is we haven't gone over over the value of 2, a mere multiple of 2, meaning that we're still in kind of like
and would that mean
euphoria-ish zone.
that the price is double what the average is? Is that the idea?
Meaning,
okay, so the Mayer multiple, how does that work?
So it's the current price. So it's the current price of Bitcoin divided by its 200-day moving average. So it would be this.
So that means that it would be like if the 200-day moving average was at 30,000 and the price was at 60,000, so then we'd have a multiple of 2.
Exactly. So you can see here, like our as of July 8th.
By the way, I'm loving these charts. You guys don't understand what's happening under my desk right now. This is super good for a chart porn connoisseur like myself.
Yeah, Newhedge, we have a lot of these. So we have market metrics, on-chain. I'll show you some really cool stuff after. But the 200 DMA, like, it's good that you brought it up, because usually once we start hitting above that 2.
Sorry, dude. I don't know if we're going to be able to stop after an hour. We're going to have to keep going here with all of these with all these beautiful charts. I
can run through the last 3 really quickly.
If you just start an OnlyFans, I'm happy to pay the $5 a month.
This is actually free right now, so you should just just sign up. It's free.
Okay then.
Yeah. The next one I really want to go on.
I think we gotta make a non-binding resolution amongst ourselves that the more we can show these beautiful charts as opposed to the other nonsense out there, the better. And then we can get new, because we always look at charts. We're always looking at charts, and I've been telling Alon, that these are the charts, these on-chain stuff, and it's epic to see them finally live on Newhedge.
Yeah, we just released 20 on-chain charts. So if you come over here, you can see all these really, really cool ones that we have, and we have a lot more coming as well. But we also have some really cool stuff that's not on-chain, which I'll show you guys later, just to kind of give us a picture of what's happening with like miners, mining revenue. But the next one I want to go into is kind of
now
like
you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I'll show you a really cool one.
Mining. When I hear the word mining revenue, you have no idea what happens. It sends shivers up my spine.
Oh, so maybe I'll show you now. So what we have is this tool. Before I get into the next one, what we have is this tool, which actually quite a bit of people use. You can see that there's 40 people online right now. What we're trying to do here is to predict the next difficulty adjustment in Bitcoin. So what you see here is the representation of the 2016 blocks within a mining
I've seen
epoch.
This before. It's an epoch estimator.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, our previous retarget, which was last Friday, right here.
Public tool like this, right? I don't know if I've seen this one exactly, or something that looks exactly similar.
You probably saw this one.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay, this is the one that I have bookmarked. I like it.
That's the one. Yeah, so this one is one that I really like to look at, because miners got like a big relief last Friday when the difficulty retargeted downwards at 5%, which means that miners now on average are 5% more profitable than they were in the previous 2 weeks. And we can see that that downtrend doesn't look like it's going to continue. It looks like now miners are plugging machines back in, blocks are being mined faster than that 10-minute block average, and it looks like the difficulty is going to go up around 1.5% is what it looks like.
Let's just
dumb it down a little bit. Just like
it's making up for the fees being so low. That's what's happening.
So you say basically a difficult adjustment in Bitcoin happens whenever miners are mining. To keep the block times at 10 minutes. So if the block times are quicker than 10 minutes, that means there's fewer miners competing and they're getting there quicker, then the difficulty adjustment will adjust up, and that will mean more miners will start to get in the game and sort of balance it out. And when the difficulty adjustment adjusts down, it means that miners are leaving. So we have to rebalance in order so that the fewer miners can enjoy. So difficulty adjustment up, correct me if I'm wrong, it implies that miners are returning after maybe shutting off their machines because of the halving and because of the price drop. There's a slow return towards turning those machines back on.
Yes, but also you have to realize that there's a technology element of this, right? So it actually doesn't mean that miners are coming or miners are leaving. I think that's way oversimplified. What it means is that hash rate is increasing or decreasing, right? So that could mean that one miner, he's not going anywhere. He's just upgrading his machinery or plugging in old machinery or stuff like that, or sending stuff out for repairs or shutting stuff off because he's mining at a place that's not profitable. Those type of things.
Got you. That's straight from the horse's mouth. A quantum expedition.
Fuck you calling a horse?
And that's stallion. Sorry. Let's get to chart number. I lost count. I think we've looked at so much more. Let's do 1 or 2 more charts, and then we'll move on to. We don't have so much time, so I want to play the game with you guys. We have to play the game, and then we'll talk about the party, and we'll wrap it all up.
We're gonna extend by 30 minutes today for the purpose of having these 2 awesome guests.
100%. We can go. Let's get it going.
All right. I don't know if my internet is maybe breaking up a little bit. I heard just very small portions of that, but can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear. We're saying more. That's what we're saying. In some.
We want more charts.
Okay. All right. So the next one, so I'll skip to maybe this one right here. So what we're doing here is we're obviously tracking monthly exchange volume of all these exchanges, and what we see here is like a real cool off in terms of trading volume among some of the larger exchanges. So we can see that, and this is in month, so we can see it's cooling down a little bit. And then the last one that I kind of wanted to show.
No. Before you do that, I'm gonna nail you to the wall on this one. Where you get the data from?
From the exchanges themselves.
So you're basically listening to the word of liars and reporting it, right?
That's the data that we have. So, for instance, I do know that there's a lot of
You should put a
manipulation and wash trading.
This is a self-reported data from the exchanges and may not be accurate, because you know that they're fucking spoofing their data, right?
Look, it could be, but like the thing is like if you look at exchange like Coinbase, that's actually not only regulated but a publicly traded company, I would fail to see why they'd want to spoof that.
Matty, you wanna expect or hope that they lie consistently, right? If they're lying, they lie before, you're comparing that to the next month, right? So they're still lying.
It doesn't
that
matter.
Didn't change.
But they might not, right? Because they might be lying on a scale, right? So they might be saying, well, okay, well, let's just report 10x of whatever we have, right? But they also might be saying, well, if we're up above a certain threshold, we'll report 12x, and you don't know what that scale is.
Right, so for instance, I would agree with you, but Coinbase cannot do that because that would reflect in reports because they're a publicly traded company.
So is that Coinbase data that you were showing, or was that of general?
It's aggregated, right?
Aggregated, right? So that's going to be Huobi and Binance and BitMEX. Yeah, you got to put a disclaimer, dude. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You guys are breaking up for me. I'm sorry.
Right.
How convenient.
Good one.
My internet here at the office is terrible. What am I paying for?
Seriously. Dudu, you're on mute again.
Okay, let's see another chart. But before we do, I'm curious, like, how would you identify wash trading in an exchange?
Wait, 1 second, guys.
I think there's a way to look at the order book. Oh, that was an inception. I love that. There's a way to look at the order book and see, like, buy-sell orders that are in a certain structure that are associated with wash trading. I know that there are some, platforms that can identify that wash trading and like do that research. Would be curious to see how you would break that down.
They can estimate it. I know that Masari was doing something they called real volumes, real exchange volumes, but also I don't know. There's no way to tell how accurate it is. The thing about this type of thing is that the only real data that you have to go on is what's being reported by the exchanges themselves, and they can basically report you anything. Maybe Coinbase might be a little bit more beholden to U.S. regulatory standards for reporting, but for the rest of the exchanges, I mean, you just take what they give you, and then if you want to sit there and sift through it, you're basically just sifting through garbage to see what to see if you can actually find out what that garbage once was. Sometimes you might be able to find out, but sometimes you're going to run into really mushy, yucky stuff.
Yeah. Okay, let's see more charts. One more chart.
So again, my internet is so
The
bad. I'm
internet's
really
not
sorry
working.
about
So
this.
we'll play the
No,
game that.
what happened? How could you? How could you be in the startup nation in the most advanced most technologically advanced city in the world and
No,
have
I'm back.
internet like this? You got to
Well,
talk to your boss at Newhedge and tell them to speak with Bezek.
it,
I'm
it,
out in
it's
the boonies
insane.
and I'm getting a 1,000 megabyte download. What's going on over there in Tel Aviv?
You know, when I tell people that I run a startup and the amount of money that we pay for an office in the center of Tel Aviv, and then this kind of internet connection happens, it's, you know, the same money that I'm paying here in Tel Aviv, I could get like a pretty nice office in like the center of Manhattan with like fiber internet. It's really insane, the outrageous
Come out
premium
to
that we're
REL.
paying.
We got fiber internet here. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
But it looks like I came back, so I can show you guys the kind of the last chart that I wanted to
More
present.
charts.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. This one, which I'm sure everyone is going to have, you know, their thoughts about it. But what we're looking at here, so this is non-chain. This is just looking at spot Bitcoin ETFs and looking at their daily inflows and outflows. So what's really interesting here is that they've really slowed down.
You got to share the chart. Sorry.
No, we're good. Can you guys see the chart?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen, like, since the inception of the ETFs, we've seen like massive inflows that started really cooling off. And then just the beginning of this week, we just started picking back up on pretty substantial inflows, specifically to IBIT, which is BlackRock's ETF, which we can isolate here. Yeah, so we're seeing some really kind of positive inflows into these ETFs, which shows more kind of those maybe those kind of mom and pop investors that you know aren't going to be holding Bitcoin or signing up to Coinbase. They're going to be using their stockbrokers or, you know, kind of more traditional finance platforms. So, and then another one that's really cool is the actual on-chain element to this is the actual holdings. So what we're actually seeing here is IBIT is growing the amount of Bitcoin that they're holding. They're holding right now 312,000 Bitcoin on behalf of their ETF. And if you add up all the ETFs together, you're looking at 878,000 Bitcoin, which is around $50.8 billion being held within these ETFs. These aren't just inflows. These are the actual holdings.
On-chain holdings. Okay, that's the
on-chain
aggregate.
holdings.
Wait. Go back to that. I'm sorry. So you're saying, do we have access to BlackRock's keys? Are we able to see what they're holding publicly?
Yeah. Their addresses. So for instance, for BlackRock, they haven't made public what their addresses are, but through like services like Arkham, they've been able to identify that those are.
So BlackRock has not made their addresses public.
No, but FBTC, for instance, has, which makes it a lot easier to track them. But
okay.
It doesn't really matter.
I'm trying to get somewhere here. Okay, stay with me. So BlackRock hasn't made their public keys public. However, we are able to isolate them and figure it out through using a service. Is it kind of like Chainalysis or something similar?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So how much is their open interest versus how much are they holding in their public wallets? Are we able to see that?
Yeah, so like the thing about what they're actually holding in their public wallets, it's not even something that's very interesting for us because it's an ETF. They actually have to report it to their investors at the end of every single day. So if you actually go to
Matty's
Google,
looking for dirt. Matty is looking for dirt.
I know
proof. He wants proof that they're rehypothecating. That
so
not one-to-one.
I know what he's trying to look for, but what you can actually see is the notional value and then the amount of units. So it's actually really public for everyone to just see the numbers for themselves without identifying their actual wallets. So you can actually see that
they have 300.
Right, but then you have to take their word for it, right?
You can, or you can kind of identify the wallets. So if, for instance, I'll show you this.
Yarden have come to me with the assumption that because it's regulated and being reported publicly, we can trust the data, which is empirically false because we've seen throughout history many times when data that was publicly reported was completely bullshit. So
Matty, you have to remember, like, the premise of ETFs is that it's not no Bitcoin maxi, no crypto native is buying into ETFs. They're buying the real thing. This is meant to be appealing for people who, don't know the technology, don't trust Bitcoin. They do trust BlackRock and the SEC, whether they're right or wrong, right? But it's not here to convince you. So there are folks out there that are out to get the data and trying to find them.
I trust BlackRock more than I trust Bitcoin.
You do?
I want to meet them. I want to shake their hand and be like, okay, dude, you might be rich as fuck, but you're a real dumb fucker.
Look, again, they're not trying to convince you to buy this. That's the point. And the people who will buy into ETFs, and the reason why ETFs are super important to Bitcoin, the crypto industry as a whole, is, again, you don't need to like it. It's not meant to follow, the philosophy around Bitcoin, but it's here to bring about more, mass adoption and moms and pops and brokers being able to sell this to their everyday clients and people who would otherwise not buy Bitcoin, right? So it's not ideal, but it's a very good development in many ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Have an insatiable amount of greed, and I believe that unless we have very clear metrics as far as what we're able to do on chain and track, then they are going to do what they've been doing with gold and silver for the last 100 years. Same exact principle, and their greed is endless. So I want to see if we can catch them with their pants down this time and say, well, we've got an asset here for the first time in history, which is completely auditable by any plebe with the tools that Alon is showing us over here. So let's.
I ran the numbers. But our bit has 18 million and change, 18 billion and change in AUM, according to their information, and according to the Alon's data on how many Bitcoin holdings in their wallet. They have 312,595 Bitcoin, which works out to around 18 million and stuff. So, Matti, the show goes on. One day we will find on-chain proof of fraud, and it will make us the next Woodward and Bernstein. Until then,
all right.
Larry Fink is doing right by his
whoever the fuck those guys are.
They're the guys who broke Watergate. So they kind of put President Nixon, and all went downhill for the man after he literally invented fiat currency. All went downhill for the man.
I'd rather be those dudes from The Big Short because they got stinking rich.
They got rich, yeah. Essentially, that's the difference between the trader and the journalist.
It's a two-pronged approach.
So let's bring in the question, and then let's bring in the question of today. I want to get your guys' take on that, especially since some of you guys are completely not in any of these fields. So meme coins, NFTs, or Biden dropping out of the race. You have to dump one, you have to hold one, and you have to buy one. So let's start with Yarden. Yarden looks like he's raring to go. Dump one.
Can you write it in the chat?
Can
you write it in the chat just so that I remember?
It's too it's complicated. So I'll just go one.
Oh, okay.
I'll just go one by one, and you're only talking about how it affects, crypto, etc. Right? So Biden dropping out of the race. Again, going back to
my race. No, I mean, would you buy it? Are you buying it on Poly Market, or are you holding it if you have the position?
Oh, gotcha.
Like, where are you putting your money? Hypothetically, not financial advice, not legal advice. NLA, BRB, XOXO.
I'm buying.
Okay, so you're buying Biden dropping out of the race. What are you dumping? Meme coins or NFTs?
Can I dump both?
Okay, cool.
Honestly, and let me just, these are nice things, and they help build the communities, and they help build, value and use cases to crypto. It's not going to be like something to look forward, to be a game changer in this regard. So it's nice. You know what? I'll hold NFTs because one day they'll be worth something. I honestly, in terms of what effect it has on the world, etc., I'm not a fan. But I'll hold NFTs and I'll dump meme coin. I think in the long term, that's going to cause more damage than bring value.
What about you?
That's
Alon?
just me.
I actually think Biden dropping out has a better chance of happening rather than meme coins or NFTs becoming some of these like use cases that everybody
Dude,
was
you gotta find
saying
better
in
get.
2020.
I'm sorry. What is this? People being practical over here. I don't get it.
It's supposed to be fun. Sorry, let's dump everything. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would first of all, meme coins and NFTs. Like, dude who knows me very well, no amount of hype was ever going to get me on that train.
Mati, what are you buying? I'm gonna hold Biden dropping out. I think he'll stick around. I think he doesn't want to leave, and the convention is very soon. And it just seems like now the contrarian play is to back him staying in the race. So I'm just gonna hold that. I'm gonna dump meme coins, and I'm gonna buy NFTs. Ordinals are gonna rocket in the next round. There's never been a more opportune time to get into ordinals. ETH NFTs are shit. That's just shit. That's not coming back. Don't buy the previous cycle's winner. Buy this cycle's winner, and that's ordinals. Inscriptions on Bitcoin. Obviously, there's a lot of shit out there. Not least, it's obviously not financial advice, because I'm not telling you now to go buy ordinals and then you're going to go buy some shitty Bitcoin goose that's worth a couple sats and then it crashes to zero. So don't do that. You need to understand the market, like do your own research. Come speak to me if you want to talk more, but I'm definitely buying ordinals at this stage. What about you, Mati?
So I don't believe that, I mean, anything can happen. I don't believe Biden is going to drop out. I don't think there's anybody else that can come and take his place at this point. And in any case, I'm pretty much 110% sure Trump is winning no matter what. I mean, even if they put Oprah Winfrey up against him, I think that he's got pretty good odds at this point. But as long as Biden is able to remain, semi-coherent, and they're able to still put a robot in his place that can say, okay, well, I'm Joe Biden and I'm running for president. I think they will kind of back that and try to regroup for the next 4 years and see if they can bring somebody else up that actually makes sense to the people. Meme coins and NFTs, I don't agree putting them all in one basket over here, because there's going to be difference between, the Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks versus, your run-of-the-mill scam fly-by-night one. So I think that NFTs have been beat up rather badly, but I think that there are going to be some that are going to emerge as ones that people actually want to hold. I don't know if I ever showed you the bicycle cards that I'm holding, those one of ones. I mean, those are really, they're just timeless classics, and they're not going away anytime soon. And then meme coins also, you guys are putting them into a big fucking bucket, okay? Something like Pepe or Floki or Dogecoin, maybe even like a dog with hat. I mean, these are kind of seeping their way into the degen psyche and the degen regular portfolio. Will they go up indefinitely or long term? I don't know. I'm also had been skeptical of meme coins before, in saying that, like, it's very silly when you hear stuff like, oh, it doesn't have a utility, therefore there's endless amount of value that can occur. So that's absolutely not true. But I believe that there will be meme coins that emerge. Those of you who are trying to buy every new meme coin for $100 and you're just losing your money, you're playing at a casino and the house is going to win all the time. But I believe that there are meme coins right now that are undervalued. I would say Dogecoin, under 10 cents. I mean, come on, like it's silly not to get in at that price if you think about where it could be in the next 5 or 10 years.
So meme coins are a good way or a good tool to go in. Even if you short it, it's a good market to make money. It's like, in terms of the value that they bring, like I'm looking at it in terms of value that it brings to the world, and I think it damages the crypto world more than it promotes the cause, let's say. Right?
No, it's definitely, look, especially the meme coin culture and the phenomena that that people are producing these meme coins and the whole purpose is to get rich. I mean, some of those meme coin founders are going to get rich. They're extracting value from the system. And I agree with that. However, you can't just say that because that's happening that all meme coins are trash and that there's no value. I mean, there's ones that like Floki, for example. I mean, they're literally talking about, you know, bringing food to people in Africa and curing cancer and shit like that. You can't say like that has no value, right? Because it does. And
well, that's because they've already extracted the value. So now they get to go and be these philanthropists that are trying to change the world. It's because they've extracted value.
Correct.
And you could do that. You can decide to be a philanthropist, you know, using Bitcoin or using fiat. That's, you know, that's nice. They made a lot of money. Now let's do something with it. People have been doing that since the invention of money, right? It doesn't make the coin itself or the asset worthy. Again, nothing against it. It's nice. It's just that so many people are going to buy into this because of the hype and lose money that it could affect the entire industry. And people are like, you know, this is a scam, and I need, you know, I lost money for you know, for no good reason. Therefore, you know, all crypto is scam. All crypto is bad, right? Which is not something that the crypto industry wants to happen. Yeah, again, because mass adoption and people who are not crypto native, their approach to crypto, as well as politicians, as well as judges, etc., is going to be crucial to the growth of the economy.
So
it's not just about what you like or not. Yeah.
Yitzi, from one of the partners, Yarden's partners at DLT Law, you can see him in the comments. He wants to make a claim, and he's got a good claim that if it has value and it's not a meme coin, having value negates the whole premise of a meme. If it has value, then it's not a meme coin. I want to kind of draw the distinction there between value and utility. A meme coin can have value. It does have value. Some of them are worth billions, but it doesn't have any utility. I think that's the case. And I think we need to bring Yitzi on the next show in order to actually talk meme coins and everything else. So we're getting to the end of the show, and the main thing now, we need to, like, you know, we have a party coming up next week, Thursday. I think, Mati, you're flying out on that day, so you won't be there. But Yarden going to be there. Alon's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We're Yarden and Alon are actually sponsoring the event. It's Alon wanted to tell us what we can expect at this party. We're going kind of back to our roots, back to the, you know, the fun vibe, very chilled, very grassroots flavor that signifies
100%.
Yalla Bitcoin. Before we went corporate, even though we have the corporate, we have the lawyers, but the lawyers even know that crypto is about the community and the vibe.
Look, I'll tell you, there's more than enough crypto events to hear interesting people speak in panels and for you to get, you know, business opportunities and that kind of stuff. But to have a grassroots Tel Aviv monthly meetup where people come together, have pizza, listen to music, beautiful rooftop, views of the beach, that I find more value in that rather than going to like a ETCC or to, you know, these other conferences. I find more value with like the people who are actually building something very interesting in our country, rather than you know, I was like, nothing against ETCC, I have a lot of friends there, but I was looking at the speakers, and you know, you can almost play a bingo game of how many people are there for culture and memes. And it's just, you know, to fly there and to speak with people about culture and memes, there's a value in that for sure. But I fail to see, it's kind of what Yarden was speaking about. Like, all these things are kind of, they're making our industry look bad. And there's people here in Israel that are building amazing companies that are actually moving the space forward. And that's what we're trying to kind of host with Yalla Bitcoin, is to bring everyone in Israel together and to have these kind of really cool talks with people, rather than listening to someone talk about cultures and memes up on a stage.
Yeah, it's also like when you go to a meetup, I used to go to meetups all the time to try and get a job. And like, you know, when I was first breaking out, it's not really the place. Like, you're not going to make any meaningful connections if you go for, you know, there's 20 minutes of bagels and some lukewarm beer, and then you have to have 4 hours of decoding infrastructure and memes. And then you have the end, like 15 minutes, and everyone goes. Like, you have no time to actually connect, to meet people. When you come to a Yalla Bitcoin event, you come, you say hi to one of us, everyone introduces each other to each other. Everyone has a good time, and then the people who are looking for jobs can meet the people that need jobs, the people that are hiring, the people that are looking for co-workers, for co-founders, whatever it might be, clients. And it's all done in a friendly atmosphere. Like first we want to become friends. And after that, business will take care of itself, and there's no shortage of opportunity. But we want
I
to
think
bring
around
in
20
and
people,
Beirut will
20
be
people have
cold.
found jobs.
Damn straight. The beers
You
will
know,
be on
I
ice.
think I added the number up before. I think around 20 to 25 people have actually found jobs through Yalla Bitcoin, through connections that they've made within the WhatsApp group and also our meetups.
Yeah, one day we will, when we get the website redone, we'll get some sort of like testimonial going where people can like say what
That's a
they
big
got
mitzvah.
from. Yeah, and it's the biggest form of charity. Not that these people need charity, right? But this is how big it is as a form of charity, that even if you help someone who does it, like a friend, that's still considered the highest form of charity. So the lowest form of charity is when you like give to someone and you gloat over them, like, oh, look how. And then there's, if I give to someone and I don't know who I'm giving to, and then there's if someone receives from me and they don't know who they're receiving from. But the second highest level is completely anonymous donors and recipients. But higher than that is obviously teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. And that's the 100%. Or introduce a man to a DJ who likes to buy JPEGs of fish, and he'll get wrecked for a lifetime. So either way, hopefully you make the right connections at these events, because there's a lot of potholes, a lot of Solana maxis that will come and show you on some shit. So just be careful who you listen to.
We'll be ready to destroy them when they come, and they do come.
Cool. Any closing words from you guys? It's been an epic pleasure to have you. I'm going to share with you obviously the recordings. You both had, some wonderful remarks and points today. And we'll look forward to having you back on the breakfast show in the future. So before we go, anyone want to kind of sign us off? Any closing remarks?
Yarden, all you.
No, Mari, I'll see you in a year. You said we can also schedule for 4 years from now. Let's see by the end of the office term, see what happens. But I'm going to come back to you.
All right, let's go.
I think we'll get Yarden back here after Trump wins and kind of see where we're at, like midway through the bet.
Brilliant. Let's do midterm session.
Cheers, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching, all the bots.
Thanks for having me on, everyone.
Tuning in. Cheers.
Bye.